jump in here real quick, get my thought off one of my thoughts from the weekend of boxing. Some good action out there with Parker and Derek Chisora, their rematch. The fight between Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez and Yuneski Gonzalez was pretty entertaining. It was a lot of action out there this weekend. I apologize right now. I got a house guest, and my wife is down in my little media area, and I like to talk in private. So I'm out here in my garage doing what I got to do. But what I want to talk about, I take a lot of heat for what I think is like obvious questions about some of the talk that I hear from Claressa Shields. I'm not really trying to attack Claressa Shields as much as I'm just trying to point out that there are real challenges to women's boxing. And I think it's a little, I understand Claressa Shields' frustration with being recognized and maybe compensated on the level that she thinks she should, but you just might be ahead of your time. And here with Seniesa Estrada, I got some of the same thoughts or statements on what I'm seeing from her. She just destroyed Maria Santizo this past week or Saturday night. And the 5th round knockout, I think she knocked her down twice. Highlight reel punches and, devastating outcomes to that and whatnot. Damn near took Santizo's head off. But when we go and look into what how Santizo got there, that's when she was supposed to do that. We know that. Then we know that Superbad also destroyed Miranda Atkins, who had no business even being in the ring with Seniesa Estrada, a world championship fighter, a world champion. And she could have, Atkins could have was. If you look into the details of that fight, it was a lot of negligence that went into her being in that ring with Estrada. But it's the fastest women's knockout or the fastest knockout in the history of women's boxing. She got up and left the ring. We all clap and go home. And it helps Seniesa's status in the game and whatnot. But, you fought a housewife or somebody's girlfriend or something. Then we also look on that same card with Estrada and Santizo, and Marlene Esparza fought Annabelle Ortiz, who was coming up 1 or 2 weight classes, and they go the distance. Esparza wins and holds on to her title in conjunction with the exciting, the devastating knockout that Estrada got on the same card. This keeps this builds into the anticipation of there someday being a rematch between Estrada and Esparza. And that's how they and I think, it does help in contrast to Claressa Shields, the big knockouts with not a lot of people caring about the details of how that knockout happened. People just get satisfied with the optics. So things are looking good for Estrada. She's somewhat of a media darling. The way that she comes off, the way that she presents herself, the way that she talks her talk, her trash is more palatable. And, she laughs and she's charismatic and people want to see more. I've said this before, a lot of times Shield is on the defense, and rightfully so. She respect what I'm doing, pay me and all of that. But I can't help it if there's not a way to massage some of that talk to make it to get more people to understand what your challenges are versus people just tuning you out. But that's it works for her core though. So then the other fight that was on ESPN Plus on Friday night for the light heavyweight championship fight between Artur Beterbiev and Marcus Brown, Sir Marcus Brown. In that co-main event, we had Mariev Decaire fighting for a vacant title, vacated by Claressa Shields, a super welterweight title, IBF. She took on, I think her name was Cynthia Lozano. Again, we've never seen Lozano before. And when they talked us through how Lozano ended up in that fight, again, we see how screwed up women's boxing is. We see how none of these fights really mean anything. And then I'm sitting here and I really see kind of, and this is no disrespect to Mariev Decaire. She's dedicated and committed to boxing. She's just not all that good at boxing. And this is a person that Claressa Shields beat 10 rounds to nothing, 10 rounds to none. But again, like I was just saying with Superbad, with Seniesa Estrada, she's knocking these nobodies out. And that's the thing that I can say as a fan and as somebody that covers boxing and writes about boxing. Claressa Shields is fighting these nobodies and you're not getting these women out of here. You're not knocking them down. We don't see the big, the explosive punches. The fights are somewhat boring. Like, these are real, this is, I don't think I'm saying anything new in this. That's what I see. But yeah, so, but Lozano was, for Lozano to be in a world title fight, in a world championship, throwing punches off the wrong foot, skills look very crude. But I gotta give her credit, to step in there, to step into a boxing ring and fight another person. I gotta give you your credit. But when you get in there and you look different from everybody else doing this, or you just have no skills, to really be in that ring and be at that level, that's an embarrassment for the promoter. That's an embarrassment for ESPN Plus. That's an embarrassment for Top Rank as the promoter. It's an embarrassment for what we accept as a world title fight. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And so that's what I'm saying. It's just when some of the women want to run out here and say I'm this and I'm that and look at me and yada yada yada, I get it. I understand. But let's keep things in context. And that's the problem with Estrada. Down at minimum weight, not a lot of women there. Not a large pool of talent at minimum weight. We get up to super welterweight is when we start having the issues at the higher end of the weight divisions with Mariev Decaire. It's not a lot of credible women above 147. All of the action is kind of like 126, 130. Maybe 112. There's some work, maybe 118, but it's just not, in all of these divisions, it's not enough women to fill a top 15. Some is not enough to fill a top 10. So it's a challenge. But again, with Seniesa Estrada, I don't know what they do. How do you just invent or create credible opponents? It's gonna take time. It could take several years. But to keep going in here and knocking out housewives, bakers, women who own laundry services, and mothers of 4, single, some of this stuff you really don't want to. You don't want to ask too many questions to even understand who some of these fighters are, and that's unfortunate. I want to see everybody that climbs into that ring, and if you win, even if you lose, I want you to get paid what you're supposed to get paid, and I want you to have opportunities if you should win. But I'm just saying, it's women's boxing. The men's side of boxing is all jacked up and challenging as hell, and it only stands to reason that the women's side of the sport is going to be a mess. But, I salute the people that are trying to do it and trying to make it work. Some of these women, even Lozano, who, as bad as she looked, even Santizo, who they mentioned, was 9-0. And that fight against Estrada was the first fight that she was actually going to get paid money. They mentioned on the broadcast that she's paid $30,000. That's her estimate or estimation. But she's paid $30,000. Her and maybe her business, whatever team is behind her, they paid $30,000 in expenses to get her to 9-0. That's paying for opponents. That's paying for the places to have the fights. Whatever administrative stuff you got to do to get a fight held. And that was, like I said, 9 fights into her professional fighting career. That lady that fought Estrada, that was the first time that she got out of the ring with it and got paid. So when I sit here, I would never sit in front of this camera and this microphone and sit here and just flat out trash any of these fighters, because I don't know some of the stuff that goes on behind the scene. But like I said, on the back end, when we go to talk about who's great, and whatever, most of those names in that, most of the names in the women's pound for pound, that top 4 or 5 names, fortunately, there's been enough activity for them to go out here and do what they have accomplished and we've seen enough of them to where that list is pretty decent. Top 2, however you view them, Katie Taylor and Claressa Shields. We get into Amanda Serrano. And then after that, that's 3. I think we might start getting into some of the Latino fighters or whatnot. Estrada might be 4 or 5-ish. It's kind of hard to even, like I said, damn, I can't even throw their names in there. So we'll see. Again, and that's the thing with Estrada. Like I said, she's fun in the ring. She's got some style to her. She's got some swagger to her. She looks like she can freaking box. We see the feints. We see hooks, uppercuts, combination punching. We see her force things. Like, she just doesn't go, the distance with all of these fighters. Like I said, Marlene Esparza is a pretty damn good boxer. I see her skills. Claressa Shields, I see her skills. Savannah Marshall, I see some skills. Katie Taylor, I see her ability. That's the other name I was thinking about, was Jessica McCaskill, who's the undisputed welterweight champion. I wouldn't put her in the top 5 of the pound for pound, but she's out there too. But that's it, man. I just wanted to come in and try to clarify some things, and then also to continue to shed some light on what I'm seeing, how I'm interpreting it, and I'm trying to be mindful of the challenges that these women face, and recognize them for their commitment to this difficult ass sport, and and salute the promoters who are trying to get involved. Chantel Cameron's another person to watch for, who will be facing Kaylee Reese in that undisputed 140-pound tournament that DAZN's been having. But again, I'm very, very, very pro fighter, but I'm also cognizant of the fact that the business side of boxing is challenging as hell, and it's filled, it's filled with pitfalls for all of these fighters. Look at how Teofimo Lopez just got tripped up. And I'll say this and I'll get off of here. But, for his father to come out and say after the fact, they went over to DAZN after the Triller thing fell apart. And then after the fact, Teofimo Sr. says something about we should have stayed with the zone robbed us, and we should have stayed with Top Rank. It really wasn't a matter of you staying with Top Rank. Top Rank tried to offer you, they told you what the purse was to fight Kambosos Jr. on their platform, and y'all didn't want to do it for that amount, and sent the y'all sent the negotiations into the purse bid process. And you know, Top Rank tried to stay in the mix. They put their bid in on it, and the Zone came in and put their bid on it. Triller put their bid on it, and it wasn't a matter of you. We should have stayed, unless you're admitting that I should have taken the money that they offered to begin with. And maybe there was a discussion when Top Rank said, "Hey, look at it like this. We trying to give you what we see as fair for this fight against Kambosos, and then you just got to take our word that in the next fight, it'll be more worth your while. But we don't see this fight." Now, the fight ended up being pretty good. But when it was first being pitched around and that the mandatory situation was there a year and a half ago or whatever, you know, Top Rank was like, we just got to get this fight out the way so that we can get back to regular business. And like I said, the Lopez team scoffed at that. Whatever number they threw at them, they didn't accept it. And because you were trying to do too much, you know, now you find yourself in a situation where you didn't have any protection. You didn't have any security in terms of a rematch clause. And now this, you know, now you got to start at the bottom of the mountain again. So again, man, it's you just, sometimes we can sit back here. What's up, Jelly Bean 4280? I'm just on here running my mouth, man. But yeah, it's boxing is an extremely difficult business. I just had a talk last night. I wrote an article last week, and the fighter's father hit me up on Instagram and wanted to talk. And he told me some things that happened behind the scenes to his son, and I don't have no way to verify what he told me. That's why I ain't writing no article about it. I ain't gonna do no video about it. But it blew my mind because I sit here and I see some of these channels talk about various things. And in my opinion, what I'm listening to, I know that this person, it's not a matter of they don't know what they're talking about. It's a matter that they haven't talked to anybody to even have an idea of what they're trying to talk about. And me being around what I've been around, I'm sitting here listening to this person, and I know you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have the detail to put together the point that you're trying to make. But that's neither here nor there. But the father, what he said was, without getting all into it, the other fighter did some medical stuff after the weigh-in to rehydrate. They found out about it and went and asked, why is this happening? Why is this being allowed? And the person attached to the promoter was like, welcome to the big leagues. And y'all about to get screwed. And things didn't go well for the father and son that I'm talking about. And I say all that to say, one famous situation out there is that Floyd Mayweather reportedly was able to get a, a TUE or TEU, a temporary exemption something. And after the weigh-in with Pacquiao, supposedly Floyd was able to do an IV to rehydrate and get back to, you know, to be ready to fight. Pacquiao was not able to get the, what was that? That shot that you can get for pain management. He had the shoulder issue. And I know it starts with a C, but I can't think of it. But we don't know none of this before the fight. And then, of course, after the fight, and it goes it's pretty one-sided. Then we find out, Floyd got this IV stuff. Pacquiao wanted, he applied or tried to request. Why can I not think of that damn shot? It's not. But anyway, Pacquiao couldn't get the. Nah, not cortisone. Yeah, cortisone. Thank you. He wanted to get the cortisone shot so he can go out there and compete and or try to compete. And he was not, he wasn't able to do it. So I understand that when it's all kind of money on the table, hundreds of millions of dollars on the table, I understand some of this stuff happens. I was just blown away that this father told me that this happened for this level of fight. That just shocked me. And I'm also listening to the father. He went and talked to the promoter, the promotional contact. In my opinion, when you find out something like this is going on, you go talk to the state athletic commission and get them involved, because that's not a matter, in my opinion, that's not a matter of contractual stipulations and whatnot. That's a matter of, this is not a fair fight, and this might not be in accordance with the rules for the combat sports in that particular state. And so you should go bring that to their attention, and maybe you could have got some help. But as it is, he's like, him and his fighter, they went and tried to go do things the natural way, drink some water, eat right, and whatever over that 24-hour process, and come out and feel strong. This other person went out here and did some other stuff, and in the fight looked like the more livelier fighter. So that's that. I'm just giving you a little behind the scenes stuff from what, things that come to me. Hey, let me get on out of here. Have a great week. It's Monday. We really only have the heavyweight pay-per-view fight with Ortiz. I don't even know who the hell is he fighting. I know it's something I ain't paying for. Is it Charles Martin and Ortiz? That don't sound right. Maybe it is. But hey, for those the rematch between good luck on that card. Whoever gonna pay for it, good luck on it. It's a couple of heavyweight fights on there. I know Michael Coffey is on there. It's the rematch that he had from being stopped in the previous fight. But hey, let me get on out for here, man. I just wanted to come on and talk about women's boxing. I know a lot of people aren't fans of women's boxing. I know in talking about some of the details that I talk about, a lot of people disagree with that, or, they had their own thoughts on different things. I understand it from a million different angles, but that's that. Fight down boxing. Don't let them count you out. Pay me no mind, sports and entertainment. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Peace.